Hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. It's another Wednesday evening hangout with Garrett at IDC Woodcraft, and of course the girls in the background. And we got Mark Lindsay on tonight, and we'll bring him on in just a moment. First of all, whatever questions you have, make sure you put question marks in front of your question so the ladies can start. And of course, they are going to be chit-chatting with you in the background. And at some point tonight, we're going to do a giveaway, but we don't know what time. We decided we're going to do it very randomly from now on. So who knows what their ladies are going to give away. First of all, I want to say hi to some of the CNC brothers and sisters, Crafty Jans, and we got a Spook MBD, Ray, and I saw Jetty out there, Oz, Roscoe. No, it's Rocco. Rocco. Okay. Rocco. Okay, I got it right. My eyes are starting to bug out on me. Trade Skills Anonymous. Okay, that's kind of like, is that like AA but for woodworking? Danny Goodchild, what's going on? And Ken and Rick, and too many people to say hi to, so hello brothers and sisters. And I'm gonna bring the ladies out so they can see you and you can see them. And just so you know, my internet is slow, so my image is going to be fuzzy on Wednesday nights, and that's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to bring Liberty out and Julie Ann out. Now, Liberty is going to be joining me at Workbench Con in a couple of weeks, so we will be down there in Georgia. And Greg, if you are on board, get well before then, because we hear you're not feeling so good right now. And so Julianne, at the bottom of the screen, she's the administrator for IDC Woodcraft, and Liberty, she is the one that makes sure all your router bits get shipped out to you. And yeah, that one there. And we were talking the other day, I was looking at some of our numbers, and Liberty, you've been with us for what 2 years? You've been she was like the first one on board, basically. In-house at least, and looking at numbers, and she has packaged over 25,000 packages for you guys. So, and it's climbing. It's climbing. Yeah. It's more every day.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So the ladies will be in the background, and they're going to pop in at some point and start the giveaway. We don't know when. They're just going to jump in and take over. So. Thanks, ladies, and let's bring on Mark. Hey, brother, Mark, what? How's it going, bro? My brother. Sorry, dude. Like I was saying before show, I'm fried, but with the watching my grandbaby for 2 days. My daughter had her fifth baby. Wow! But 4 grandchildren. We lost one, and so her first girl after 4 boys. So she's pretty happy.
I bet.
Little
I
tiny
bet.
thing. Yeah.
And it being granddad is just one of the best things in the world. I'm a major fan, but I feel your pain.
Yeah, I was watching a 2-year-old for 2.5 days. So yeah, that was definitely working me.
Yeah, but I don't have that much energy anymore.
Yeah. We definitely bonded though. Definitely bonded. He was when the parents came back, he was preferring my company. I was like, no, you want dad now.
But, well, this is just me talking here, but they need to get cable. So
yeah, for sure.
It's like there were cheaper hobbies than having kids.
Yeah, but he's almost old enough to come here now. So I just have to baby-proof the house a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're going to start talking CNC, and put in the comments, folks, what are you making these days? What projects are you cranking out? I am refining this project here. For those of you may know, this is a playing card holder and a game piece holder for my niece Isabel, and a lot of people apparently want this design. This is 13 tools, Mark.
It's
8 router bits, 13 tool paths. 8.
Wow. Wow.
8 router bits. So yeah, using the taper ball nose for the 3D stuff, using the roughing bit to get everything cleared out. 3/16 down cutter for this guy, and V-bit there. I'm using that ball nose here. Yeah. This is a molding toolpath. I had to learn how to do a molding toolpath to do this. That molding toolpath is cool.
Yeah, there is some great applications for that molding toolpath, and I'm a major fan. I'm a big time fan.
Yeah, yeah, and that's now I know. And if I went back to watch your video about how to make a tapered hole,
yeah,
so that's how you do it.
That is soon to change, but yes.
Version 12.5 is going to have some upgrades to it.
A few, yes.
Good. Okay. Well, let's. So when does version 12.5 coming out? Since Mark, by the way, folks, is a beta tester for Vectric.
Yeah, I am very fortunate. I'm not the only beta tester. Believe me, there's a fantastic crew, a great bunch of people that are working with it. Kyle Ely is another beta tester. A few other names you may or may not know, but when it's coming out, I'm not sure. All they're telling us right now is sometime in the spring. So that could be anything from March to June. I really have no idea. Right. There are a bunch of, I think, very much needed improvements in it so far. And in fact, I was just getting ready to make a video about how to do something, and I decided I'm not even going to bother making that video because it's going to be obsolete soon as 12.5 comes out. Okay. So I've decided I'm not going to do that video, and that was on the Toolpath templates. But the way I use Toolpath templates, but it's soon to be obsolete, so I'm not even going to bother.
Okay. They always come out with these new surprises, and it's always neat to see what they're coming out with. They did offer. They offered me to be a beta tester. They gave me that offer about a year ago.
I'd go for it. Go for it. It's a lot of fun in that what you're trying to do is break it. So all you do is just load it up and just try to do like you could redraw that playing card holder that you have there. And see if you can break it, see if something doesn't work, or see if you have any issues. And it's just a lot of fun. I like to try to destroy stuff, but they're actually doing pretty good this time. So, I mean, it to be honest, this time is kind of boring. So,
interesting.
I see a question. I see a question out there. Somebody saying they just bought VCarve. Will I get the upgrade? If you have VCarve version 12, you will get the free upgrade. That's called an in-family upgrade. It's only when it goes from version 12.5 to version 13 that you'll have to get a hold of Vectric and find out, do you get a free upgrade or is there a fee? So, but in family within the same version.
Okay. Don't they? It usually shows up in your portal if you get the upgrade from 12 to 13. So yes. They kind of got that all worked out.
Well, yes. You go to your portal. There will be a link right there in your portal to upgrade your software, and you click on that, and it'll tell you if you get a free upgrade or if there's a fee or whatever. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I opted not to, only because I'm too busy running the business.
Yeah, I hear you.
Getting more router bits on board. I'm really excited about this one, which nobody can see yet. This is a totally new design.
Oh,
and so it's completely new design and bits. That's it's gonna be very interesting to see. Performs exceptionally well. All right, well let's get ready to hammer. Oh, before I do, I've got 10 videos I got to do. 10 videos. I got 3 videos for this marble maze, which I we're getting close to getting that done. We got to do a little more edits. 3 videos for that, and then this is comprising 7 videos.
Wow!
To run that 7 videos.
Well, if you start running out of ideas, I have an idea for you. I'd like to see you do.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see what we got going on out there. So let's hit the questions. So Landis says, question for me, bought the Great Seal of the USA for me. When 3D carving it, what bits do I suggest roughing and finishing? Just received the 10-degree ball nose end mill. Okay, so as it stands, let's see. So you can size it up. If you are doing it anywhere up to maybe 8 inches, I would be using the ultra fine detail taper ball nose, which Julianne or Liberty will put links in the comments and in the description of this video. If you're going bigger than like 8 inches, then I would go to the fine detail. So the ultra fine detail, if you're 8 inches or under, and the fine detail if you're getting bigger than that. So it's a Great Seal of the United States mark. It's literally the Great Seal. It's got the eagle on it. It's got the stars all around it. And girls, put a link to what he's talking about. I'll bring it up. You can get the file off the IDC Woodcraft website. Yeah, but geez, I just asked him to do 3 different things. That means 3 different drinks. So I'm gonna bring up the site, and then we'll. I wish my computer. I have to really stop whining about my Wi-Fi here because it is slower, but it's much faster than it was, at least. There we go. And when my first Wi-Fi service I had was really slow, so I was getting about 1.5 megabytes per second upload speed.
I tried to plug in on Wi-Fi and trying to get through StreamYard onto YouTube and everything for me on Wi-Fi. It did not work at all. I had to hardwire everything in. So I'm plugged straight into the router.
Yeah, even hardwired. Even hardwired slow. I don't do this Wi-Fi. Do it hardwire. But that's the Great Seal of the United States. That's what that file looks like there. So Sweet. It's pretty detailed file. And you can get that 3D model off idcwoodcraft.com, and the link will be there. So yeah, like I said, 8 inches or less, use the ultrafine taper ball nose, and going over 8 inches, use the fine detail taper ball nose. That's a cool project.
Yeah.
And make sure you get the sanding brushes on that one. I gotta bring the sanding brushes up. Yeah, because there's so many nooks and crannies on that one that you really need to get the sanding brushes. All 3D projects need to be cleaned up. I gotta bring it up so you can see it. The sanding brushes, they fit on a Dremel. Okay, there we go. And now I can share my screen. These guys right there. So super cheap. You get a whole bunch of them. You can see what you get there. And those are like Scotch-Brites. They're just different like hardness of Scotch-Brites. And so those don't scrape up your project. They basically knock off the
fuzz.
Knock off the burrs.
Yeah.
You ever use those?
I use those, and I use the Scotch-Brite radial sanding discs that
okay.
And I use also a nylon brush that is impregnated with an abrasive, and I have a 220 and a 400 grit. I just chuck it into my drill and go for it, and they work really, really well. And I don't have a name brand for it. It was just something I ordered off of Amazon, and I had used something similar back in the cabinet shop, and I know they're pretty gentle on detail. So I just plug it into, chuck it into my plug-in drill and go for it.
Yeah, when it comes to the woodworking, you need to use soft brushes that aren't abrasive, that don't have sand on them, that are just going to scratch the heck out of it. So yeah, link for that will be in the description as well. So we got Mark is saying, is the long mill MK 2.5 rigid enough to support 1/2-inch bits? No. Can I move fast enough to keep up with the chip load? I upgraded to a PWM spindle, but have been hesitant to move up from 1/4-inch bits. No, you do not want to go to 1/2-inch bits on that. You'll be pushing your luck. I mean, you can do the 3/8 bits on there, but it's on the MK2. So you got there's more power to the motors. The best thing to do is ask CNC Labs, but I would say no, because the stepper motors, when you're using 1/2-inch bits and you're using NEMA 23 motors, you need to have really long motors that are having a lot of power put into them. So
yeah, and a nice rigid gantry beam, etc. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The gantry, the machine is not built for 1/2-inch bits. So good question though. Did I answer the rest of that question? Shoot, I popped this question out and I forgot the rest of it. Geez, I'm tired. Okay. Look at this. Brooks Martin said, so the video I did, the live video I did on the Origin Shaper, I got a segment on Ask This Old House last weekend.
Oh,
boy,
I'm gonna go check it out.
I want to see some of that. I want to see that. So I had 2 videos on that. One was we had them live, and then the other one was we did one at the AWFS show. So I've got 2 videos with them. So the live demo, that video is done really, really well. A lot of people have watched it. So that's very cool. Hey, now I'm getting on to national TV. You never know.
Just remember us little folks.
Yeah. I'm waiting for them to come knocking on my door with that big check.
Yeah, serious.
Yeah. Okay, Mike says, how do you adjust the letter spacing on V12? You want to hit that one, Mark?
We can do that. Yeah. Let me get my screen ready for y'all. And whenever you want to let me in, let it in rather.
Oh, there it is. I see it.
Yep, okay. There it is. Okay. The letter spacing is within the text tool. Now this is going to take a second. I've got way too many fonts on this computer. So I click on my text and now I'm just waiting for it to load all my fonts. This is why you don't want 1,500 fonts like I've got.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while. Hello. Yeah. I'm serious.
I can do it if you.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Now we've got it. All right.
Really? Is that what's dragging it down? Is all your fonts?
Yes. It takes it a while to load. It takes it quite a while to load. Also, I've got both a VCarve and Aspire running. So that puts a little bit more drag on it. So, and I'm in VCarve Pro, by the way. So I'll just put my name in here. And I'm going to stay in the text tool, the create text tool. Then I'm going to hold down Shift and enlarge the text. There used to be a separate icon on the design tab for adjusting the spacing. Now it's all within the text tool. So if I bring my cursor out here and I put it between the 2 letters, you'll see my cursor changes to the letter V, then a pair of arrows and the letter A. And you'll see those 2 arrows are pointing towards each other. So if I left click on my mouse button, it's going to adjust those closer together. If I hold down, press and hold Shift, you see those arrows are now pointing away from each other. And I mouse click and it separates them. So it's all within the create text tool. And as long as you leave these text objects and don't convert them to vectors or convert them to curves, you can select the text, go back into your text tool, and as soon as it loads up, you can go back and adjust spacing later on. You can also move these green dots out here to curve the text upward or curve the text downward, and then come back and adjust the lettering after the fact. So it's all done within the text tool now. There is no longer a separate icon to activate that. Man, that just tightened it up way too much. So that's it.
There you go.
Yep, that's it.
All right. Oh, Mark. So Rich said, you're here. You have to tell us when to drink, because whenever I ask the ladies to do something, but Rich is saying, do you need a pinch hitter because you're running live right now?
I said something about that earlier. I said I'm going to need somebody to step up, and Jack in the shop has stepped up and he's taking care of it.
Okay. We have drinks in hands, because every time I ask the ladies to do something, we have to take a drink. So, okay, let's roll on here then. Okay. So we got Brian. I was trying to surface some oak for the puzzle maze. Marble maze, I guess. Use the IDC 1.5 inch. It was overheating the bit, running at 10K RPM. Should increase, decrease feed. Your feed rate should be much higher. With the 1.5 inch, you should be running at probably 120 to 150 inches per minute.
Yeah,
you can go 100.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, I run mine minimum 120 inches per minute. I take shallow cuts, shallow passes, but I run at 120 inches per minute minimum, and then I feed it up.
Now, how many cutting teeth does your 1.5 inch have? 4.
It's got 4, okay. Which means you got more resistance too going on.
Right. Yeah, and it also means you do need. I see that 10K RPM. That's perfect. I think 10 to 12,000 RPM for that bit is probably perfect. But if you're overheating and you're doing a slow RPM like that, oh yeah, increase that feed rate. Increase the feed rate. I have the 3-wing surfacing bit, the 2-inch cutter, and I run that at 220 all the time. But I'm only taking off 20 thousandths of an inch per pass. Yeah. I have run it up over 300, but I prefer not to. It's just a little too quick.
Yep. Yeah. Once you get that feed dialed in, though, that you'll be surprised how smooth that thing cuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's really I had the grinds modified on that thing. I had them add a tooth. I knew that was going to increase the drag on it because more teeth are doing work at one time. Yeah. But it changed the grind angles a bit, so get a much better, smoother cut on it. Yeah. And anyway, okay. And for those of you who are not sure what bit that is, so it's part of the ultra smooth cutting surfacing bit series, which I am going to bring up. So IDC Woodcraft is the only company out there that has a surfacing bit with a 1/8 shank. As far as I know, I searched and searched, and I finally went to my tooling company, and I said I want one with a 1/8 shank. That's 3/4 inch diameter cut, and yeah, so I don't think anybody else has that. And people were asking for that all the time.
Well, that's perfect for the 3018 machines or the was it 3040 machines, because they're running the smaller spindles that run only 1/8 inch bits. That's perfect.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And they can't handle the other bits. So
No.
the one in the one on the left is the 1.5 inch. The one in the middle is the 1 inch, and then the one on the right. There'll be a link to this in the links. If you got a 3018 machine, then that surfacing bit, that little surfacing bit right here, is for you. And you know, when I had them design that, we only had to go through one rendering of that design and testing, and it's like, wow, this thing's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to go through multiple revisions of it, so went with it. So we just did this one, Brian and Rich saying, Garrett, shout out to the 1/8 ball nose end mill. Your cutter slipped down almost half of an inch while machining at 60 inches per minute in oak. The project didn't survive, but the cutter did. Woohoo! I like to hear that one, especially the 1/8 bit going that deep. That they don't survive that type of depth, except for IDC, of course. That reminds me about the the down cutting ball nose that we released beginning of the year. Did we send one of these to Mark? We should get one of these to Mark. So this if you guys haven't seen the little promo I got out on this guy, this thing cuts so clean. I had this one designed because I got tired of the tear out of the ball nose, not just the end mills, but the flat ones. And so we get the marble maze file with it, and we send a ball bearing with it too for this file.
Oh, nice.
So I'm giving a G code. I give a G code program the design file, the SVGs, G code, and we work up instructions too to tell you exactly what to do.
Sweet.
So,
Sweet.
Yeah. So that'll be linked as well. William, how often do the upgrades happen? Mark, this is a question for you.
I am not that much of an insider. Here lately, since about version 9, they've been updating once a year. And it would, like, for instance, last year, I think it was around June, version 12 came out. This year, somewhere in that neighborhood, 12.5 is coming out. They did 11 to 11.5 about a year, and then 11.5 to 12. So here lately they've been doing every other year. But when they went from 8.5 to 9, it was about a 3-year wait between 8.5 and 9. And that was simply because they were doing a lot of work under the hood, working on the nuts and bolts, and introducing rotary projects in the job setup and two-sided machining. So that was causing a lot of issues in the background, which meant they had to go under the hood and update a bunch of their code there. So generally speaking, once a year, but not always. So, and I don't know when it's going to come out. They keep us in the dark on that. Oh.
All right. And for a giveaway we did before, Kimberly got her badger in. Sweet. Was that 2 weeks ago or last week? I'm looking at the ladies. Was that 2 weeks ago or last? 2 weeks ago. Okay. So 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're going to be doing another giveaway. So we're doing giveaways every Wednesday now, but we're going to do it randomly. We're doing it at 9 o'clock, but we decided we're going to make it a surprise. We're just going to do it randomly. And whenever the ladies jump in, they're going to take over and start the giveaway process. And me and Mark, we know who wears the pants in the family. So, all right. Greg Anderson, what tool do you use to make an is object bigger or smaller by 30%? Oh, Mark,
Okay.
Jump on that one too. That's a scaling tool.
Okay, sure. We can do that. If you want to bring my screen share back in. Let's say I want to make this smaller by 30%. I have it selected. I can come right over here to set selected object size. click on that, and I have the option. I can either scale it by inches or I can scale it by percentage. So I'm going to scale this down by 30%. Let's make it 30%. If I want this to stay proportional, I'll click on link XY. If I want it to reduce the height, but not the width, I will uncheck XY and I'll just adjust my height. So if I want to reduce my height by 30%, but leave my width alone, I'll uncheck XY. So I will go -30. And we see how that adjusted the size there. Nope, it's not going to let me do a negative. All right. So if I want to reduce it by 30%, I'm going to have to take it down to 70. 100 minus 30 is 70. Because if I enter 30 here, it's going to be 30% of the height. So there will be a little bit of math. I know they said there'd be no math, but they lied. And boom. Now it's 30% shorter. So I will Control Z to undo that. If I want to make that proportionate, I'll make sure I have link XY checked, and I'll bring that down. It doesn't matter which one because it's both going to do the same. 70%, click apply, and there we go. It adjusts both. So, I see a follow-up question over there on the percentage. Can you do the math in the box, like 100 minus 30? Vectric gives us a bunch of built-in calculators. So just about everywhere there's a field where you can enter information, it is a calculator. So let's say I want to reduce this by 28%. I'll take 100 minus 28 equals, and I've got 72%. So I can apply, and there we go. So yes, you can do the math within the calculator in here. So, and it doesn't have to be text. It can be anything. If I draw a star out here, I can reduce or increase or whatever. So now if I wanted to increase it, let's Control Z to undo that. If I wanted to increase it by 30%, switch over to percentage, and I'm going to add 30 to 100. So it would be 130%. And there we go. So to subtract, you have to subtract the percentage from the 100%. To add, you add the percentage by to 100%.
Yeah, I just did a video on that like 4 months ago. I'm going to link that. Yeah, I did. I'm going to link that. And I just remembered, so I found that video. And ladies, I'm going to put that link in the background so you can put that in the description of the video as well. So, but Mark covered something I didn't cover in that video, and that was doing the addition subtraction. And I didn't really cover the percentage aspect of it in that video as well. I did talk about it briefly, but since I never use percent adjustment, I just go for size adjustment on those things.
I'm the same way. In fact, I've used percentage more just now than I have in the previous 10 years. It's one of those things I just generally don't use. So, but I realize it does have its place. So,
okay, Gary, using the spindle project calls for using a spindle project calls for a pocket and profile cut. Using M codes and G codes, spindle will do the pocket cut, then stops. Don't want to put my fingers in there. How do I do it? Thanks. So I guess what he's saying is the spindle. Okay, so looks like I'm going to guess on this that he does the pocket cut and then the machine pulls to its zero position. So what I'm guessing here is that you have your G codes separated. So a pocket toolpath is completely separate from a profile toolpath. And you can tell Vectric to merge those toolpaths. But if it's stopping, then it didn't. You're not set up to tell the software to write both codes together, as long as it's the same router bit. That's one thing. The other one is if it's not telling the machine to do something, and it may stop temporarily because of some G code that it's not reading right or doesn't interpret. How are you interpreting this question?
I had basically the same questions. If your machine is doing the first cut, then lifting the Z out of position, going back to the home position, and the spindle is shutting down, then yes, you do have to do a tool change. Just get your wrenches out and loosen it up. If it's not turning off the spindle, now you need to get a hold of, I don't know what controller software you're using. Now you need to get a hold of your CNC manufacturer and ask them how the setup on your spindle, because it should be shutting off. There's no reason for that to stay on.
Yeah. Let's see. Spindle will do the pocket and then stops. So don't want to put your fingers in there. How do you do it? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to assume in this one he's doing the pocket cut and then a profile cut with the same router bit. That's going to be my assumption on this one. And okay. So what I'm thinking you're wanting to do in that case is do the pocket, and that right after the pocket it comes in and does the profile. But in the case that I'm talking about, in the Vectric software, I got mine loaded up so I can share my screen for that, but I have to stop my current share. Well, you're loaded up there, Mark. Why don't you go ahead and show them how to merge the toolpath? So
do what now? So you're okay. I don't understand what you're wanting to merge.
That's okay. Never mind. I'll do it with mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just pull in this. Okay. So are we looking at Zoe? There we go.
There we go.
Okay. Do you have the this project up now? Okay. So I'm going to go over to Toolpaths. This is actually that project, that card holder that I was just talking about. And this is, I'm refining it so that I can make it available to people. So anyway, so in this, I've got a bunch of toolpaths down in the lower right corner, and 1, 2, 3, 4 toolpaths use the Beast router bit. So I can have all those toolpaths. I can have the code written so when it does one toolpath, which the first router bit does a surfacing. It does a surfacing toolpath on it. And that's with the Beast, so it's roughing it out. The second one does some of that pocket. The third toolpath does a deeper pocket. And the fourth toolpath does a rough cutout. So if I tell the software to save the toolpaths, well, when I do that, I'm going to go into Save Toolpath. Then up at the top, there are several selections up here.
I see what you're talking about.
At the very top. Yeah. It says Selected Toolpath, Visible Toolpaths to one file, Visible Toolpaths to multiple files, and then Group where possible. So these different settings up here, like with the visible toolpaths to one file, that would be used if you have an ATC, if I'm correct with that. Is that right, Mark?
The same. Well, definitely you can do that with an ATC, but you can also set up a controller to stop and do a manual tool change. So,
okay. All right.
but yeah, for the most
Yep.
part, yes.
Yep. So you may have the very first one selected where it's selected toolpath. And the selected toolpath is the one that is like highlighted gray in version 12. In version 11.5, I think it's highlighted blue. But you see, as I'm clicking down through there, they're turning gray. That's a selected toolpath. The little checkbox next to it, if you click that and it's checked, that's a visible toolpath. So I just want to make sure you see that distinction. So if I can only have one toolpath selected at a time, I believe. So right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it'll only write the G code when you've got that radio button selected toolpath. It's only going to write the G code for the one that you have highlighted down in your toolpath. The next one is what we said. Let's see. If you have like an ATC, or it says it right there, tool changing. It needs to support tool changing in one way or another. So I go to the third one, and it says visible toolpaths to multiple files. So what that means is I will come down and I will check the little checkbox next to toolpaths, and I can write all the G code files all at once, or I can just check 2 or 3 or 4, and it'll just write those codes for the ones that are checked. But down at the bottom where it says group where possible, right below that radio button, there's a little checkbox that says group where possible. So if I have that checked and I tell it to save the toolpath, all 4 of those toolpaths with the Beast router bit are going to be merged or written into one G code file. If I don't have that checked, it's going to be written into multiple G code files. And so in this case, if you are using the same CNC bit, we'll say the Beast, and you're doing a pocket and then you're doing a profile, and you don't have group where possible checked, then it's going to write them as separate G code files. If you have both of them checked, if you have selected toolpath checked at the very top, and you have a bunch of them checked down at the bottom, but only one highlighted, and you tell it to save, it's only going to save the highlighted toolpath. Did I get that right? Did I explain that right?
Yes. But I would only add one other thing. Where you have visible toolpaths to one file, you can select all of, for instance, in your example, you can select all of the toolpaths that use the Beast. And it will write all of those to one G code file. Okay.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. Now I understand how I can do that. Yeah. Thank you.
So long as it's all using the same bit, and it will save multiple toolpaths to one G code file.
I see. It's not giving me an error when I do that. But if I check another one that uses a different bit, then I get the error. I would have to have the right processor would have to be used, and that won't give me that error.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. By the way, folks, I am going to make this card holder available. I've had quite a few people ask about it. And if you guys want it, let me know. I think I'm still going to do it. I've been working on it that file took me like 4 days to design, playing in and out, getting in and out of it, just making sure that thing's right, especially if I'm going to be giving it away. Especially if I'm going to give it away. Okay, just seeing some of the other comments out there. Oh, Crafty Jan said to drink. I must have asked the lady just to do something.
Well, no, actually, you posted the link yourself, so I didn't consider that a drink.
Oh, okay. All right. William Woodworks, is it a better to purchase outright, or is it the same if you purchase monthly? I'm assuming they're talking about Vectric here.
If you're talking about Vectric software, they don't have a monthly option. You purchase the license outright, and that's it. There is no monthly option. So
it's yours, and
they're doing everything they can to stay away from a subscription model, mainly because they know how unpopular that is. So Gary Lynn is saying that he has version 11.5 and doesn't have that option. Version 11.5 does have that option, the selecting of multiple tool paths and what have you. It is the same in 11.5. So.
All right, and we're doing a giveaway at some point tonight. I don't know when. The ladies in the background are going to just jump in whenever they want to. And just checking some of the feed going on there. Okay, when I set up, this is from Ray, when I set up Toolpaths, I always tend to slow down the feeds and speeds. What does it take to just trust the tooling database feeds and speeds? I'm worried I'm going to break the bit. So that's kind of normal, and when you're relatively new. So there's a couple rules of thumb to follow with this. Number one, the database feeds and speeds that you get from the database in IDC Woodcraft. So if you have the Vectric software and you have not populated the database, we have all our router bits in a database that you can import directly into the Vectric software. When you download that, you'll get a video that will show you how to do that with instructions. And so the feeds and speeds in the IDC Woodcraft database are set conservative because I want you to be careful in the beginning. So they're at the very low end of your feeds and speeds that you would want to be using for those, but almost all the bits can be dialed up in feeds and speeds. So if you're afraid to break your bits, but if you're getting sawdust off of it, real fine chips, then it's probably time to speed it up a little bit. But you also have to take into account the rigidity of your machine too. And if your machine's not that rigid, then you need to dial down your RPMs and leave the feed as it is. What are some of the rules of thumb for Mark that you would want to put out there?
But basically, just as you say, if you're getting burning, your spindle RPM or router RPM is too high, or your feed rate is too low, or a combination of the two. If you're getting real fine sawdust and not chips, if you're getting sawdust, your spindle RPM is too high and your feed rate is too low. One or the other, or a combination of the two. If you're worried about breaking a bit, experiment. Look, you are going to break a bit. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, no, I'm not trying to suggest that you break it, but that's one thing about the speeds and feeds. There is no perfect number. It's going to change depending upon your material. It's going to change depending upon the project. It's fluid. Hard maple is going to cut completely different than soft pine, which is going to cut completely different from purple heart. So, which is going to cut different from foam or acrylic. So those are constantly going to be in flux. You're going to be changing those feed rates. Take notes what you did last time, and if you want to speed it up next time, speed it up by about 10%. Just speed it up by about 10% and watch and listen. If you hear that bit struggling, and you'll know it, believe me, if you hear that bit struggling, slow it down. So also watch your depth of cut. Some bits can handle cutting double their cutting diameter. Other bits can't. So my rule of thumb to get started is start out with half of the bit's cutting diameter. So if you're using a 1/4 inch diameter spiral, down cut or up cut, whichever it may be, have that pass depth 1/8 of an inch at the max until you get used to it. So, yeah, Timothy McNamara is out there saying, I literally set my dust collector bag on fire from the wrong settings. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Preach, brother.
So I haven't set anything on fire yet. I intentionally tried to for a video.
I saw that.
Yeah,
And I was doing
yeah,
exactly that. Was drilling with the downcut bit, but I was
yeah.
drilling a series of holes, and it got to about the fourth one, and suddenly when it came out, smoke started pouring out of there and embers dropped off the bit. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh no. And
Yeah.
I dumped my Pepsi on it and shut everything down, panic stopped, shut everything down. And I had burned a patch about that big around in my MDF spoil board.
Wow.
And
Yep. Yep. Folks, that's one thing I've seen it. Don't ever drill with a down cutter.
no.
All you're doing is you're just packing that stuff down. Think of it like the Indians doing their bow and stick thing to make fire
Mm-hmm.
on hyper warp speed steroids. And that gets down inside there, and it gets down, and that it smolders underneath your material on your spoil board, and you can actually not even know it and walk away from your machine, and before you know it, you've burnt your shop down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And if you're not
yeah.
there, or if you have your dust collector running and it's
Oh,
sucking
yeah.
embers through your dust collector, I mean, look for videos. Look for videos on YouTube. CNC fire. You'll find them. They're there.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
my favorite one is the one where the guy left. He was ahead of Shapoko. He left alone, but he left his camera running, and the material broke loose.
Yeah,
and fire in no time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the friction. I mean, that's how you start a fire, by rubbing two sticks together. Friction. So imagine 16,000 RPMs. It's gonna ignite. I mean,
and you're jamming chips down into it. It's
exactly.
cutting and it's jamming. It's cutting those chips and it's jamming them down in there, making it even tighter and harder to work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But as far as to address what does it take to trust the tool database, it takes experience, and you will get there. You will get there. It takes experience, but take notes, because I don't know about you, but speaking for me, I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. All right. So I definitely don't remember the feeds and speeds of a project I did 9 months ago. So take notes, write it down. This worked, this didn't work. So if you're getting a good result at 60 inches per minute, but you want to try to speed that up a little bit, this next time bump it up to 70 inches per minute, and just watch and listen.
Yeah.
You'll know if it's having a problem.
Yep, you'll hear it. Ryan DePrella did a good video not so long ago. He talked about why does the bit squeal, right? And he talked about lots of different reasons why that happens. And so if you're getting a lot of squealing out of the bit, that could be an indicator that your RPMs are too high.
Yeah. Or if you are, especially with a V bit, if you're V carving and it looks like the bit is kind of plowing its way through and not so much cutting, you may need to speed up the RPMs or slow down that feed rate. Because the bit needs time to cut those fibers. I know we all want speed. We all want to run at 500 inches per minute, but that's just not practical. The bit has to have time to cut those wood fibers. Otherwise, it's just going to rip through them. And would you rather spend a half an hour more with the project on the machine or spend 2 hours sanding? I'd just soon let the machine do it personally.
Yeah. Yep. One of the little rules of thumb I like to use is when my machine is cutting, I'll pick up the chips and I'll roll them in my fingers. And if it feels like I'm rolling sand in my fingers, then I know I'm getting comfortable sized chips. Right. But if I feel like I'm running powder in my fingers, then I know my feed rate's too low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And one of the things I just want to pass this on to those who have gotten the Beast and the Hog and the Ripper and the Slayer. These guys here. Let me get this camera in focus. There you go. This is the Slayer. That's the 3/8 roughing bit.
Oh, sweet.
And so yeah. So these are popular. People are asking for these guys. We got this. We have the Slayer and the Ripper. The Ripper is a 1/2 inch, and then we have the Deep Ripper and Deep Slayer. So this is 3/8 inch shank cutter, and then the other one's a 1/2 inch shank cutter, but the deep slayer and ripper are longer. And anyway, one of the things I found out about this, I was just playing around. Oh, there you go. You got the beast. There she is.
Yes, sir, I does. And beast it is. I'm here to tell you, there is no such thing as finesse with this bit. Its job is to get rid of material now, mister. And it does it.
Yeah. That 80% step over on that thing, and I've run that. Well, I ran that at full depth, a piece of maple. Inch cut at 80% step over. I was doing that on the Phantom, and I had it running at 1,000 inches per minute. If the thing actually could run 1,000 inches per minute, but it was just flying back and forth. I was cross grain. I wasn't going with the grain, but I did do a pocket cut too. But one thing I found, and this I'm still learning. I'm still learning about my own tools. I started cutting cross grain with my roughers. And it worked so much better because it doesn't have to work along the grain it doesn't like peel the grains away. No,
it's slicing those fibers. Yeah,
so it's just going across, and I could amp up the feed rate even faster. So I was running 220 inches per minute with the beast, 80% step over going cross grain. And that was so I was like, oh man, that runs even better. So just so you guys know, when you're doing a roughing with the beast, or the Badger or the Slayer or the Ripper, go cross grain. I think it works so much better.
Well, just remember, they're roughing bits. You are not going to get a smooth finish.
Right, they are roughing bits. Interestingly, there's somebody who used the 1/2 inch one when we had our trial pieces, and I said, okay, I need a couple beta testers. Someone was asking about it, so I happened to get in at the time, and he used them. He said, actually left a good finish.
Well, hey.
Really? I'll take that.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is one for you, Midnight Sun. Says, why did they jump from 12 to 12.5 instead of a smaller step like they used to? It's talking about Vectric upgrades.
They have always done that. They have, well, okay, I can't speak to. I started learning on the trial version of 7.5. Then the next one was 8.0, then 8.5, then 9.0, then 9.5. It's always been 0.5. Now, that's upgrades. Updates are a different thing. Like I'm using 12.013, but the next upgrade is going to be 12.5. There are updates. Those are the small numbers, but that's not the same. Updates are there to fix bugs or things like that. So it is
little
different.
Patches that they need to do. All right. So Clinton Custom Guitars. Speaking of guitars, Mark, maybe you can talk to this guy about violin. About the violin you got to make. So I'm really curious about this violin thing. Are you going to start?
It will not be on YouTube. No, it will not be on YouTube because I won't be doing any CNC work with it. So I prefer to. I'll be honest. I prefer to do guitar work by hand. To me, it's relaxing. That's my moment of zen, and I just get out the files and rasps and go for it. Carve out a neck.
Okay. All right. So Clinton is saying, do you have any suggestions for purchasing a 1/2 inch collet for the alt mill spindle? So the alt mill, which is the one that I have, I love that machine. I really like it, especially after I did the 2.5D profiles. Is that thing? It was like, damn, you don't see the acceleration and deceleration on that. It's like just so fast. Anyway, so that's go ahead.
I was going to say that alt mill is impressive. It really is impressive, and for the price point, I mean. Mine. I'm sitting on about a $15,000 machine here. For the price point, that alt mill deserves some serious consideration. You know,
Yeah.
now if you're wanting to get up into, I will never criticize my Avid. I love this Avid. You know, no hands off, it's mine. But if I was just starting out and working my way up, I would seriously consider an alt mill and only move up to this when I was ready for professional quality.
Yeah,
So,
when I got the alt mill, I mean, and at the price that they were selling it at, and I got that thing running, I was actually like, geez, these other guys got some serious competition here now, that are making the same size machine. Ladies, put it in a link for the alt mill 4x4 and the alt mill 2x4. So alt mill, CNC Labs just came out with a 2x4 alt mill as well. Oh yeah, got a drink. Yeah, they came out with a 2x4 alt mill, and it's just, I don't know how they build that machine at that price. But well, I talk to them on a pretty regular basis, and you know they're not there to. They just want to make sure they make good equipment that's affordable.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as far as a call it for your alt mill spindle,
yeah,
first place I would ask is CNC Labs.
Yeah. So, well, they provide a spindle with it, and that spindle is an ER16. All right. So that can handle up to 3/8 collets. It doesn't take 1/2-inch collets. So if you want a 1/2-inch, then you're going to have to go to an aftermarket. Then you can buy, either a spindle from Amazon, or you can buy a spindle from the PWN is the one I prefer. Throw PWN in there for a link. But you're gonna have to get a collet with an ER20 or bigger, a spindle with an ER20 collet or bigger, and that is going to be an 80 millimeter spindle. So I think, if I remember right, it comes with the 80 millimeter spindle already, so you already got the 80 millimeter bracket. So there you go. Can ask CNC Labs, but I don't think they have the upgrade.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've no experience with it at all.
All right. There is talk of alt mill 4x8, by the way. So Donovan asked about that.
Oh, hey, Donovan.
I know they've been asking about it, or they've got a little bit of a write-up on it. So don't know what they're going to do with it. And so just so you all know, at some random point tonight, we will have a giveaway, but I've told the girls, do it whenever you want. Keep it random. We are going to, so it may happen just as we're getting ready to sign off. I don't know. They're just going to pop in and do it. Spooky.
Happen at any time.
Yeah, that's right. I like that. It makes me anxious. It gives me anxiety. I have to start taking my antidepressants when I get on board here. I'm going to be doing that. All right. So Spooky says, how can I get a G-Sender load faster when you open it? That you'll have to talk to CNC Labs about.
I have discovered that a lot of this also depends on what you have running in the background, because you would not believe how many resources like right now I've got this browser window open. I've got VCarve Pro 12.0 open. I got Aspire 12.0 open, and I got Aspire 11.5 open, and it has slowed everything down. So you would be amazed.
Yep. And you can check your startup files, your settings for your startup files. So when you turn your computer on, it automatically starts a bunch of programs.
Yep.
So you can hit the Control-Alt-Delete and go to Task Manager and see how much stuff is actually running your computer. You'll be surprised.
Yep. Click the startup tab and go through and disable a bunch of stuff.
All right. All right. Brooks says, can the surfacing bits be used as slot cutters? No, they cannot.
Okay.
Nope.
That came up on the one of my members only live streams. We were talking about slot cutting, and
Okay.
he asked about that, and I said, you know what, you need to ask Garrett.
Right. Right. Yep. The IDC Woodcraft surfacing bits are designed for surfacing only, not for T slots. You can cut square deep grooves.
Well, the question was asked about cutting a slot in the side. So bring your bit down here and then cut like so.
Yeah, you totally can.
To like cut tongue and groove.
Yes, you can do that. So the bit blade is 1/4 inch thick or 1/4 inch tall. So it's at 0.25, plus or minus 0.005, maybe. I don't remember what that tolerance is. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. Side cut into it.
Okay, there you go, Brooks.
But you can't. Yep, but you can't T cut. You can't make a T slot with it. All right, Joe is saying when surfacing your spoil board with a bit like that, can I plunge straight down or should you ramp in? Ramp, brother, ramp.
Yep.
And here's why. Let me get this puppy out. Oh, what do you know? This is the very first 1.5 inch IDC Woodcraft surfacing bit.
Oh, sweet. This was the prototype.
The very first prototype I got for testing. I happened to grab that out. But I'm going to grab the.
See, you need to get that. You need to get that puppy gold plated and mounted on a walnut plaque and hang it on the wall.
I do. You know, my dad used to work for a jewelry company, and he was a VP, and so I would. He would take a quarter and have a quarter gold plated. I grabbed a railroad spike, cleaned it up, and they had that gold plated for me, and I lost that. I don't know where I lost it. Yeah. But okay, so this is a well-used surfacing bit right here. But if you plunge straight down, the surfacing bits only have cutting edges on the outside. And this is a brazed tip bit. When you turn it sideways, you can see this is the base of the body, and then the cutting blade is just maybe 1/16 of an inch more. You plunge straight down, it's going to run right into the material, and you're going to superheat that bit super fast because you're just creating a lot of friction. But this is why there's no cutting edges in the middle, and that's why you never want to plunge with a surfacing bit. So if you don't have any clearance to come in from the side, focus back in there. If you don't have clearance to come in from the side, then do a ramp. And I always suggest you go 3 to 4 times the length, the diameter of the bit in your ramp. So this is 1.5 inches. I would do a ramp at 4.5 inches.
Yeah, that's what I've done as well. That's what I have done as well. If there's no cutter all the way across, if there's no cutter all the way across the bottom, I do a minimum of double the bit's cutting diameter, at the very minimum. If I don't have that 3 times to play with, then I will at the minimum double. And if I can't get away with that, it's time to pick another bit.
Yeah. And you can do the zigzag in Vectric, but it only zigzags once, right?
Well, no, it'll zigzag however many times it needs. But like if I can't get away with my 2-inch cutter, I also have one that's 1 1/8 inch, and I have another one that's 3/4 inch. So I'll just move down to the next lower.
Yeah. So Joe, you'll know it if you try to plunge with a surfacing bit. That's why you'll notice in the IDC database the plunge rate is set to 7 inches per minute. That's probably still too high.
Yeah, and definitely
just remember when you ramp, you need to go and change that plunge rate. Otherwise, it's going to ramp really super slow. Okay. Kimberly, the recipient of the badger. All right. Am I going to add that to my database? What are we going to add to the database?
I think your new bit that you're. I think your new bit that you were talking about.
This one here, yes, the Ripper or the Slayer. Ladies, did we already add that? I know we got the feed rates and stuff. Okay, we did. It's already added into the database. So the database should have the bigger bits. You're talking about the 3/8 bits and the 1/2 inch bits. They should be in the database now, and you'd have to just re-download the database. The new one that we're working on, no, that's not in there yet. We've got the feeds and speeds, thanks to one of our brothers that's here. So I'm excited about this one. This is going to be an interesting release.
Tease.
Oh, this is a tease. This is like taking. It's like, how can I make a router bit perform even better, right? And so it's like getting outside the box, and yeah. So it was like, okay, this is different. I so much want to say something about it. All right, so Chuck is saying Garrett texted me a couple times about the proper way to cut small text, 1/4 inch to 3/8. I'm not getting acceptable results.
Oh, so. Common. Very common. When you're doing tiny text like that, you need a very steep angled bit. 30 degree may be too big. That's why I got a 15 degree V-bit. And especially for tiny text like that. And it also depends on what material you're talking about. But for super tiny text, sometimes, I hate to say it, sometimes laser outperforms CNC. It just depends on how small the text is. But 1/4 to 3/8 inch text, I use a 15 degree V-bit.
Well, you got some guts, Mark. I won't touch the 15 degree V-bits.
I won't touch them either because they bite. But they
bite and they break.
Yes, they do. So you will do yourself a favor. Don't buy one. Buying one 15 degree V-bit just it's a non-starter. You've got to buy at least 3 or 4, and do not use a touch plate to set your Z0. Do not do it.
Please don't. Please don't.
Because you will shatter the tip on that puppy. That almost looks like a hypodermic needle. That's a 15 degree V-bit. You cannot use a touch plate for that. You've got to take it down and use the paper method or what have you. But boy, does it ever work nice. It
draws blood too.
Oh yeah. It was mounted in the spindle, and I dragged my knuckle underneath it, and it lacerated me from fingernail to right there. It doesn't care.
Oh. Liberty, I'm gonna bring Liberty up for a second. So IDC, here at IDC, we have a 90-day. You break it, we replace it guarantee, right? When you get bits from us, right? So I mean, if you burn it up, we're a little more hesitant because it's there for the break. But if it looks like you've been using it, it's like, okay. But Liberty, how often do we get the 30 degree bits back because somebody dropped it?
Yeah, like it is more often that I get a 30 degree bit back. Somebody with their head down in shame, I dropped it and broke it, than if they just break it during carving.
What I'm doing is I'm holding up all of the 30 degree V-bits that I bought because I know I'm going to break one.
Yep. Best be prepared.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, I don't mean to be cavalier about it, but you got to remember that bits are consumable items. They're going to get dull. They're going to wear out. You're going to break them.
Yep.
So, but for small text like that, sometimes you've got to go with just a steeper angle, and the 15 degree V-bit, and it is a V-bit, Kimberly. It's not an engraving bit. There are a couple of suppliers out there. I'm not going to mention names here because that's low class. But if you do consider making a 15 degree V-bit, I would get rid of that. Broke it, we'll replace it guarantee. Because I mean, you can you can break it looking at it wrong. I broke the tip off of one putting my dust collector brush on. You know, it's that bad.
Yeah,
Wow.
those fine tips. Adam, you said you're considering buying a queen bee. Would the fourth axis work with that, or is the alt mill exclusive? So you have to ask Queen Bee if they have a fourth axis capability. If you want to get the queen bee, got to ask them. Anyway,
you pretty much have to know what you're doing if you're going to start. If you're going to start mixing and matching parts from other suppliers. Yep, you really need to know what you're doing.
All right, we're taking over.
Oh, time for giveaway. Okay.
Yep, we're taking over.
All right. The ladies are owning the show. The people with the pants.
We are giving away today a set of calipers. I don't have a pair here with me right now to show you. I'm sure Mark does. I know he has like 200 pairs sitting around.
Yeah. Well, three. Just three.
Just three. Okay.
Well, I'll just bring them up on the website.
Yep.
I got some sitting here.
So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, the code word tonight, is it what I said earlier, Julianne?
Hold on. I'm getting us set up. Hold on.
Yep.
I have too many tabs open.
Yeah.
Nope. No pressure.
Pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
So giving away IDC Woodcraft brand calipers. These guys right there.
Okay. Let's see.
I think that's Julianne's fingers holding that.
Apple.
So
Pound or
so
hashtag,
folks,
whatever you want to call it, Apple.
Yeah.
pound apple.
Bob, pound apple. Put it in. We'll see if you win.
This is generated by Liberty too, because I couldn't think of a hashtag.
Thanks
Code
to my
for you
daughter's
guys.
apple juice.
It works.
So while everybody enters, I did want to kind of put something in there real quick because we had several questions along the same lines, and they were answered in some ways. And anyways, so our tool database. Go to our website. We have resources, tool database. You will have to re-upload it every time we release a new bit and release the new feeds and speeds for it. It does not automatically update. So if you're looking for the ball down and you don't see it anywhere, it's because you've not updated. If you're looking for the big rippers and slayers and all that, can't find them, it's because you haven't updated. Go back to the website, re-download it, re-upload it. You're good to go.
Yeah. You follow the video instructions, and that way when it uploads, it won't overwrite the stuff you already have in there. It'll just update it.
Yep.
Now, when you add, this is just me, my ignorance, because I don't know. When you add a new bit, I know you modify the tool database, but do you also release the tool file for just that bit so that somebody can go, oh, hey, I bought that. I need to add that to my tool database.
So the feeds and speeds are also published on the website. Mm-hmm. So so you can go to the description of the bit in the website. And as a matter of fact, every router bit has a QR code on it. And that will take you directly back to the description.
Perfect.
That'll take you directly to the product page for the feeds and speeds. So is there something else we could do?
No, that's all I wanted to know. I just wondered if you did a complete database or if you released the files individually as well. So.
Oh no, we don't do it individually.
Okay,
that's too much. Guess we could do it. So this is what they're giving away. This is what the ladies have decided to pull from the IDC arsenal. And if you put in the hashtag that you see on the screen right now, get it in there, and the ladies
42 entries.
We'll do their stuff.
Come on now, 142. Y'all
I know they're still coming though. They're still active.
You go.
I say we draw at 9:20. That's a full 5 minutes of everybody getting there.
9:20.
Oh, that's cool. Yep. gives you the count up too as it's going along.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't even know. I don't even know where this service is. Julianne and Liberty know how to run this thing.
Yeah, it's a giveaway tool that is run by StreamYard.
I say I could probably figure it out, but Julianne's the one that knows how to do it. All right. We're slowing down. You have probably less. There we go. All right. Draw.
Whoa. Bingo.
We have to wait for the confetti. Don Fezler.
Congratulations, Don.
You have won a pair of IDC branded calipers. If you will send us an email at garrett@idcwoodcraft.com, title it Wednesday Winner or Wednesday Win, I won Wednesday, something like that, and we'll get you taken care of.
Okay. And we also, did we lose Garrett just now?
I
Looks
think
like
we did.
it.
I think we lost the big man.
All right.
Takeover time.
We have another wrench to throw in tonight for you all.
Uh-oh.
So, if you did not manage to get the calipers, we have a gift card giveaway that was generously donated by Greg from STO Woodworking. So, if you guys want to jump in on that, I'm not going to give away the amount just yet.
You the man, Greg. So what do they got to do that?
All you got to do is if you
haven't already commented, comment. And if you've already commented, you're already entered.
Yep.
So we'll give it about 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll draw again.
Yep,
so if you didn't get into #Apple, get in there and type in #Apple. If you've already done it, you're already entered.
Yep.
But if you weren't in on the first drawing,
welcome back, boss.
Hey, Garrett, not that
Thank you. So it just quit on me. I was looking down at the calipers and I was talking and I looked back up. My screen's doing that. And Sam jumped in. Hey, it's a party without Garrett. The boss is away. Let's go play.
So we kind of did do a little bit of a takeover thanks to Greg.
Yep, we did. All right.
Oh, what did Greg do?
How long are we letting this one run? We got a couple more people that got in there.
Draw at 9:23.
9:23. All right.
I'm seeing a couple more go ahead and pop in. It may be their service and so on being slow.
I think I don't know if I can click draw again and it run it, or I don't know. I'll wait. Tell me when it's 9:23 and I'll click.
Dun 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 dun. But yeah, we're giving away a gift card for a shopping spree
at IDC Woodcraft.
Yes,
obviously.
Well, I have to say congratulations, Don. Even though I wasn't here for the big celebration with the glitter and stuff that pops out. That's my favorite part.
I know. You'll have to see it in the watch back.
All righty. Are we
ready? Right. Draw.
All right. All right.
Harry A11.
Woo! So Don and Terry.
Send us an email at garrett@idcwoodcraft.com. Wednesday winner, and we will get you taken care of.
Party,
congratulations,
party.
Terry. All right.
Yeah.
And Greg,
So cool.
you're the man.
Yes, thank you.
So what did Greg do?
He donated the money for us to give away a gift card.
Are we going to tell him?
I don't know. Should we tell him? I don't know. It's up to you. I'll let you release that.
Is it what you told me?
Hold on, let me double check and make sure it's what we're not. He spontaneously just messages and says, "Hey, everybody, I want to give away a gift card," and I'm like,
Oh, right. So cool. They're putting you to work right away. And the guy is sick too. Boy.
Yeah. 200.
I guess this is his pleasure from a sniffling bed.
Yep.
Greg just gave away a $200 gift card to IDC Woodcraft. Greg, you are the man, the myth, the legend. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Not at all. Not at all.
Wow.
All right. See how many questions y'all can knock out in 5 or so minutes, and we'll get out of your hair.
The way I talk, 1.
All right. I guess we're back online, and way to go, Greg. So, okay. I still feel out of the loop. So much happened in that 3 minutes that I was gone. All right, let's roll on. So much fun. All right. So Mike, you said, is there a site that shows the keyboard shortcuts of Vectric? Yeah, just type in keyboard shortcuts of Vectric and it'll come right up.
Even easier than that. Within the Vectric software, go up to the help menu, and the second link is keyboard shortcuts. It'll open up a browser window. So again, just help keyboard shortcuts. It'll open up a browser window, and as soon as it opens up, I'll drag it over here. Vroom. But fair warning. Look at all the keyboard shortcuts. I mean, there are a ton of them. So I don't know anybody who knows all of them. And I don't know that I would want to talk to anybody who knows all of them. But that's the easiest way to find them is help. And the very second link is keyboard shortcuts.
There you go. Super. Okay. Glad I know that. Now I don't have to search the other way.
Greg says Kyle does. Kyle knows all of them. Well,
yeah,
no, he doesn't.
of course Kyle knows all of them.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know all of them.
No, he actually doesn't. He's when he's been on here and people have asked him that, he says, go do a search. So that's probably something he didn't know.
Yeah, nobody could know all of them. I mean, that's a huge amount, man.
Yeah.
I don't think the developers know all of them.
I would say Kyle would get a 9 out of 10 on that one, though, when they're testing everybody.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Stacy is saying when pocketing a large area on a carve project, most of the work is a 1/4-inch down cut. When I get to the 1/8 and 16-inch bits, do they need to be down cut or does it matter? Cutting soft maple.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I prefer to use down cut bits if I have the option, but if you're using a 1/4-inch down cut and then you end up with a 1/16 of an inch up cut, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The only time it would, the only time it's really going to matter is you got to remember your surface finish. Okay. If you can get a hold of 1/8-inch down cuts and 1/16-inch down cut bits, and you use them quite often, I would definitely get some. But with most of the work being done with the 1/4-inch bit, I don't think it matters, really. That's just my opinion. But remember, you use a down cut bit to get a clean top surface, an up cut bit to get a clean bottom surface. Okay. So you're cutting pockets. It's only going to do those corners, those real tight radiuses. It don't matter.
I wonder if I should do a 1/16-inch compression bit. Nah.
Why? Are you?
No.
You're going to end up with what, a 3/8 of an inch depth of depth? Well, not even that, 1/4-inch.
Not even that. No, we do 1/4-inch. I do 1/4-inch depth of cut on that. I wouldn't even touch that. I wouldn't even waste my time on that one.
Yeah.
Rich says, I have difficulty cutting epoxy where the epoxy starts to melt. I use the O-flute tools. Should I increase the feed rate? Mark, you've done the epoxy.
If you're melting epoxy, you have your RPMs way too high. I have never melted epoxy, but the fastest I run is about 16,000 RPM. I would increase the feed rate and decrease the RPMs. Let me look on that 15-degree V-bit. What did I put for because I use that to carve in epoxy. 16,000 RPM. Yes, and 40 inches per minute was my feed rate. So, and 20 inches per minute was my plunge rate. And I've never had epoxy melt. Now, having said all that, not all epoxy is created equal. What type of epoxy are you using? There are different epoxies. Polyester, I hate it. That's more for fiberglass work. But something like Alumalite Clear Slow or what have you, I've never melted it, and I've V-carved it. I've cut it out. I've drilled it. I've not tried to tap it. I've not tried to cut threads in it. I've never had an issue with melting. So, and I love Alumalite Clear Slow. Hashtag not sponsors.
Okay. All right. I like what Kimberly said about the shortcuts. She said next time we have Kyle on, we should try to stump him.
Yeah, there you go.
And let's see. So there's one. My wife asked me the other day why I need another IDC Woodcraft end mill. He told her he didn't know. He's just after the M&Ms and the notes. So just so you folks know, when you order from IDC Woodcraft, you get M&Ms and you get a little love note from the ladies. And, yeah.
Well, that's the same reason she needs another pair of shoes. I mean,
there you go. There's your response.
Because they wear out, they break. I mean, they're not made of titanium. So yes, they're going to wear out. You got to replace it, man.
Exactly.
It's tools.
Yeah. It's tools.
And like I tell my wife,
that's the only answer. It's tools.
Exactly. And that's like I tell my wife, she knows where me and my money is. Right here. I'm right here. And she's going to end up getting something I make with that tool. So, hey.
Exactly. All right, Rick, you said you have difficult. You just got that one. I didn't drop that one off the queue. Okay, Brooks is saying, can you resize X and Y some clip art without changing the Z height? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you do that? Yeah, you just uncheck the Z. It's going to say when you're scaling it down at the bottom, there's a little check box. It says scale with Z. Is that right?
Yep.
And there's a little check box. And just uncheck that check. We'll bring you up, Mark. You go ahead and show them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to put some clip art out here real quick, and
Well, you should just be able to go to. You should just be able to go to the scaling tool.
Yes, it's set selected object size. So I've got. I'll just whip out that dome dish right there. Okay, and we'll go.
So basically,
back to
the question is. Yeah, basically the question is, if we scale this down, he wants to keep the same Z height of the project.
Right.
So
right.
But so go ahead.
So with it selected, you know what? Let's close that. Hold on a minute, and let's look at the component tab. Go into the properties and see what our height is. 1.3746. That's way too high. Let's make that 1/2 inch. There we go. No, not 5 inches, Mark. 0.5. There we go. 1/2 inch. All right. Now I'm going to resize it. Go back to my design tab. Come on. And I've got it selected. I'll go to set selected object size. And I'm going to change. Before I do, uncheck auto scale Z. There it is. And we'll go
right down at the bottom.
3 inches. And I have auto scale Z unchecked before I made the change. Apply. It's closed. Now let's go back and check the properties and watch it make me look stupid. We're still at a 1/2 inch. So it's as simple as that. Just uncheck auto scale Z when you resize it. So, and if it's at all possible for it not to rescale the Z, obviously, depending upon how big or small you make something, it may scale the Z. It may have to in order to keep the shape. So I imagine that I would get to a point on, I'm trying to, there we go. That's what I'm trying to do. I would imagine if, depending upon how small I make this, I would get to the point to where it would have to scale the Z to keep it a dome shape. So
Okay.
that was the name of
All
that.
right. Yep. Got to give Billy a shout out. He donated $20. Said we guys rock. Thank you, Billy. So what Billy did is down below the video, under Mark, there should be a $sign there, and he clicked that, and he made a little donation. You got 4 people hanging out here with you, trying to make sure everything worked. And the girls back there just giving away my stuff. So just
well, not just your stuff, Greg's stuff too.
I know.
They're outsourcing now.
I buy it and they give it away. All right. So okay, well, thank you, Billy. And I do still owe them a dinner. So Juliana Liberty, get that on the calendar. Let's go to the steakhouse. You guys have accumulated. Mark, let's see. Mark, you never invite us, so you can't come to your barbecues.
Well, if you can make it.
Yeah. All right. William Woodworks. Have you ever tried making a box turkey call without a rotary?
No.
No.
I've never attempted to make any kind of an animal call. So no, I'm sorry.
No. Yeah. I wouldn't even know. I've never even I think I've seen a turkey call twice when I was at my friend's house hunting, and he had one. But so I almost don't know what those things look like. Tim just finished cutting a second inlay, made the ridges too narrow, and there was chipping out. Is there a way to fix that?
Always run your V bit first. Always run the V bit first, because you're going to have support on that material when the V bit goes to cut. And if you've already machined away all your clearance passes, now that bit's got to run right along that real thin ridge, that real narrow ridge. So always cut with the V bit first, then do your clearance passes. That will help immensely.
Good. All right, we got 4 more to do. So you're good to go for another 10 minutes there, Mark?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
All right. So Tim says, have you ever tried? So folks, the questions that have come in after 9 o'clock, we already had a whole bunch in the queue, so we can't handle all the questions that have been asked. So after the last top of the hour, they stopped queuing those questions for us. So Tim is saying, have you ever tried making gears with the gear gadget? When I put in the diameter of the gear, it comes out much larger than I type in. Have you ever tried to make a gear?
Not with the gear gadget, no. In fact, I just looked. I don't have the gear gadget. So I really can't. I really can't comment on that. About all I can say is I have heard that the way the gear gadget works, I don't remember if it works to the outside where the teeth are supposed to, where that measurement is, the diameter, or the inside of the gullet between the teeth. I don't remember how it sizes the gear. So what you might do is draw a circle of the diameter of gear you want, then use the gear gadget to try to get that same diameter and see where it's actually hitting, where that measurement is being taken from on the gear, and then adjust your diameter accordingly. You know, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I've never played with it, so it doesn't make any sense to me. It kind of does. It kind of does. But I know the gadgets could be a little funny. I played with the spiral gadget, and you really have to work with it a little bit before you understand the sense that's been applied behind it.
Yeah.
All right, William is saying, what lube would I recommend for my long mill screws? Long mill, we'll answer that one. I use the 3-in-1 oil, the light oil, but other people, Jack in the shop, I think, is the one that has used the dry lube, like it's a silicone dry lube. He uses that, but I would talk to CNC Labs. You know, they're the ones that make the machine. Yeah, you know, let them be your guide. And you can probably find it on their website. Just look up long mill maintenance, and I'm almost certain they have a page that tells you what to do.
Yeah, Avid. I'm supposed to use lithium grease, and I do. I do not like silicone dry lube. I won't allow it in my shop. And that's simply because I've had too many finishing problems with it around. I don't even allow it in the shop.
All right. Got 2 more questions. First of all, from Funwayo, choice between alt mill versus Onefinity 4x4 for turn a hobby into a side hustle. So they're both good machines. They're both impressive machines. I happen to like the alt mill. I've had my hands on a Onefinity, but I've never cut with the Onefinity. So I can't even, I can only go by what I've seen online. All right. So the Onefinity has the Masso controller. If I understand, the Masso is kind of it's a high level control, but it also takes it's a larger learning curve. For hobby, that it's pretty high level control. But
I have seen people turn both of them into side hustles. So I think you're looking at Chevrolet versus Ford here. I mean, there are a lot of people that absolutely love their Onefinity, and they're making a good bit of money as a side hustle with that Onefinity. And the same thing with the alt mill. There are people that just absolutely love their alt mill and making a decent amount of money. So I think if it comes to a choice between those two, personally, if it were me, I would say let your budget be your guide, because they're both real good machines with real good communities, real good support, and everybody that I've ever talked to that has one of either one of those absolutely loves it. So I don't know that you could go wrong with either one.
Yeah. The only difference that I have known with these is, but I think Onefinity did some updates as a result, because CNC Labs, when they made it, they focused on the acceleration deceleration for the 3D carves to make them go a lot faster. And so I think Onefinity adapted for that too. But yeah, watch. You won't go wrong with either one. I'm an alt mill lover, right? So I create content with the alt mill. But the Onefinity is a good machine. It's just you do good both ways. Okay. All right, so I'm going to bring the ladies up. We got one more question here, but I'm going to bring the ladies on board, and because it's kind of a fun question to answer, and I'll let them answer this question. So, Erickson Design Woodworking says, "Who names our bits?"
We all do.
It's a collective brainstorming that takes months. Let me tell you.
Yeah, everybody.
How long did we
put their 2 cents in? We have a whiteboard with the options up and continue to feel things out. I
think I had a whole 2 pages of my old notebook dedicated to just bit names.
Well, I've seen you guys ask it here in the chat. What should we call that bit? What should we call? I think the Badger came from that, didn't it?
Yep.
The Badger came from the chat. So
the Slayer did too. That was Greg, because we were out of names. We were like, what do we call it? I mean, so we had the badger, the beast, the hog, and now we're getting the big guys. Like, what kind of animals can we get up to? Right? We're Godzilla. We were talking about Godzilla and I don't know what
Tasmanian
else.
devil.
I know there were some that we had to nix too because they were already like branded, trademarked names. So sadly, some of the good ones didn't make the cut.
And some of you people need to be ashamed of what you suggested. You know who you are.
When I called the long one the Deep Slayer, I got a roll of the eyes from the ladies. They said, "We'll just call it the Deep Slayer, the Deep Ripper."
Yeah. There's Maurice from Erickson in Design and Woodworking. He's got a killer channel. If you're into Fusion 360, I highly recommend you get over and check out his channel. Some of his projects are just, oh my God, incredible. Just slap your mama nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we've already got the name for the new bit series that's going to be coming out, though. I think we've dialed that in behind the scenes instead of asking people. Getting it dialed in right. We talked about it a little bit today. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and coming up with the character for like the badger, the beast, and the hog. Actually, the mascot, basically. Creating a video and finding growling sounds that I could import into the video. That was a lot of fun. All right, I think, folks, all the stuff we talked about is linked in the description of the video that we brought up. And congratulations to the winners. And I still missed the gift card thing. You gave away 2 calipers, right?
1 caliper and a $200 gift card.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, impressive. All right.
Yeah.
Giving away Greg's money too. All right, cool.
That's what I mean. They outsourced it.
Yeah. Kimberly said we should name our bits after dance moves.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can think of that one movie. What, Dirty Dancing? The Dirty Dancer.
I mean, I don't know about chucking a moonwalk into the spindle, you know.
Yeah.
But it would go so smooth.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm looking at this going, okay, we got the pole dancer.
Oh man.
Does that mean no? Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I'm getting inappropriate. I'm not gonna say it.
We're still live.
Yeah. We're public. We're public. The electric slice. I like it. The moonwalk, surfacing bit. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, bring them out. The hustle.
Somebody says the Charleston, I'll probably die.
I was thinking foxtrot or turkey trot.
The jitterbug, the 2-step. Yeah, my streaming video is fuzzy. My internet is slow where I've moved to, so that's just what we have to do. All right, folks, we are going to check out with the last one being from John the Twister, which is a good one. Ding.
Yeah.
All right, folks. It has been fun. We'll be here next Wednesday. I don't have anybody lined up yet. We are starting to work on that for the year. And we will talk to you next Wednesday. Again, Mark, thanks a lot for jumping on board.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. We'll see y'all.
All right. Take care, y'all.